All right, so I got a new project, this go-kart. I started taking it apart to assess it a bit. So first thing, the seat's completely rotten. I ordered a new one. I mean, it's not salvageable. I mean, there's missing all the wood. It basically fell off and it was all gumming up the tracks. So that's why I just took this off. It was a real mess. Absolutely just disgusting. So besides that, this arm's bent a little bit. You can get a little better look there. It should be straight. It's missing the grease fitting on the other side. That one's missing it, but it looks like it broke off. So I'm not sure. Probably I'll just leave that as is for now. The seat belts are a little dirty. I cleaned it off. I pressure washed this twice. That's why the paint's missing. But next it's working on the engine. So it leaks gas. I don't know if they didn't assemble it right when they took the carb off. So the story was this was sitting and his buddy asked him to get it working for him. I think he went through the carb. The fuel line isn't on all the way on the carb. It's hard to see, but if you look back in there, it's not on. So I don't know if that's the problem or it's not assembled right or if it's not sealing. Anyways, I'm gonna do a full engine service because it's also got a lot of debris behind the shroud. And then the on-off switch is also garbage. So let's start it. All right. Air filter is pretty dirty. I'll probably get a new one because it also looked like it's kind of shrunken, which is weird. But this is just the standard 3 10mm bolts. So my goal tonight is to get the carb fixed. It seems like the motor was actually running fine, but definitely the carb is leaking everywhere. So if I can get that fixed, clean the spark plug, because I usually don't replace them unless it is actually shot, but that really never seems to happen. And then do an oil change, because I have a feeling the oil's filthy. And then I need to clean this air filter housing because it's got a lot of dirt in there too. So let's see. Taking an air breather. And those bolts were super tight, so I think they had it apart. I mean, definitely dirty in here. I'm gonna take it apart no matter what. Clean it up. See how much gas is in here, because I don't want to get gas everywhere. Well, there's a decent amount, so let me get something so when I take the line off, either I can drain it into something or I can plug the line. All right, also take that off while I've got it. All right, so I'd say yeah, for sure someone had the carburetor off, because these gaskets never release. And I already know I'm gonna make a bit of a mess. I'm trying to make the smallest mess I can, if that makes sense. Also, let me pull those off. This is the governor spring. So on this go-kart, no one ever took the governor off, which, I mean, not good. It's good for the motor health, but it's not a giant motor. This is only 126 cc, so. Yeah. Oh, shit. Shoot. What I was trying to avoid. Let me get a container. All right, so grab the spark plug out of there. It's not terrible. I'm just going to clean it off, reinstall it. No reason to replace it. The electrode's got tons of life left. Well, this gives me trouble on this. So that side peeled a little on that, but it doesn't matter because this is the sealing surface. So I mean, obviously I would like that, but it's not gonna be detrimental. The carb, I'm not sure if the guy cleaned it or not. I'm gonna start tearing it apart. It's pretty dirty, at least on the outside, but it leaks horribly. Oh, I can tell the guy did take it apart, and it's missing the seal there. So, well, I'll have to work on that and then clean this up. So let me start cleaning stuff up a little bit. All right, let me take the bell housing off, or the recoil housing off. See how much junk is behind there, because I'm gonna have to order some parts. I have actually probably that gasket somewhere, but it's in storage as I've been moving around a little. Well, this throttle cable also looks like it might be broken, so I might need a replacement too. Switch. Oh, actually, it's not too bad looking. I'm a little surprised. Of course, I'm still going to clean it up, but not terrible. All right, let me kind of clean things up a little, and I'll turn you back on in a few minutes. All right, well, I just hit the spark plug with a wire brush and then a torch that burns the matic. Clean all the carbon off. It's really not bad. Like the electrode, you can see it barely has anywhere, if any. So I'm just going to throw it back in and then work on reassembling it. So I cleaned it up. There actually wasn't too much debris in there, a lot less than I thought. So let me button it back up and I'll turn the camera on. Well, good and bad news. So this O-ring is broken, but it's not missing any. So at least for now, I'm just going to place it properly and tighten it and see if it's good enough to use. I'm still going to replace that O-ring, but at least this way I can run it. It looks like the carb was pretty clean. I mean, really not bad. I would say nothing in here. So I'm just going to reassemble this and put it back on. All right. So we'll see if that works. I am cautiously optimistic that it'll work, at least for now. I mean, I do want to get all new gaskets anyways. This is the insulator. I think it's this way, if I remember correctly. Yep, yeah, it's that way. And make sure it goes under. Spark plug was cleaned off. Let me get this gas line in, and actually that was one of the reasons I left the shroud off, because it's a lot easier to get this gas line in with the shroud off. So that's all the way. These that's the governor spring. And then for the throttle. So, let me put recoil on. Also need a new switch here. This switch is pretty beaten up. So I'll have to order that too. But on a positive note, I don't see gas leaking. So the gas is open. And oh wait, there's not much left in there. So let me fill it back up too. But let me put the shroud on and let's see if it's still leaking. All right, so I sprayed some engine foaming cleaner on there because that's all I had. I thought I bought brake cleaner and I bought foaming engine cleaner. So that was kind of stupid. Another thing I just noticed. So this spring, which fits in these detents, is bent out. So I definitely need to get it to sit, because if not, this will open up. So actually, what it looks like, I need to take this out. So take this out by pulling this butterfly plate. Let me get a different pair of pliers and then lift this out and then rebend that over. All right, got a better pair of pliers. Let's see if I can grab this plate now. There it goes. So make sure you just know the orientation. That goes in. Let me pull this back off. And then let me pull this. And this, see how the spring's bent over? It needs to go like that. Now, yep, now it's tight. I can feel it. So this choke plate needs to go in. Back how it was. And that's just something to make sure you're checking on a motor like this. It's far from brand new. And you know, if you don't have that right, it loosens up. It's never gonna idle right. All right, so let's get the air box back on. I washed this off because it was super, super dusty. So, breather goes into the valve cover. But maybe I'll worry about that, whoops, afterwards. Yeah, let me get this in place first and then worry about the breather. Because I might have to put some WD-40 on it so it goes in a little easier. And these should be 10mm bolts. Snug, and then the top one. Okay, well, I think it's at a point where I can try to start it. All right, let's see if it starts. It is leaking a little, unfortunately. Choke's on, fuel, throttle's low. Oh, forgot to put the spark plug back. All right, let me let it warm up for a little bit, change the oil, and then I'll turn it back. Well, the motor runs pretty good. It is leaking gas, as you can see, in oil change. But I'm gonna actually just take it around the block, see, do I want to put a different motor in it? I just laid the seat in. That one's obviously shot. And let's see how it is. Well, good and bad. I just took it down for a shakedown. Motor ran awesome, actually. Even though it's still leaking gas, but it idled smooth, it accelerated fine. Motor, flawless. The clutch isn't right. I don't know if it's because this was old or sitting, but sometimes it wouldn't engage. So these discs would spin, but it was like the belt didn't want to grip. So I got to look into that. The brakes were horrible. They definitely need an adjustment or going through because they hardly worked. But overall, not too upset. I mean, you can see it's leaking worse now. So I think I am going to throw a bigger motor in it though. I found a pressure washer with a 210cc Subaru motor. It's a bigger version of this. This is the 126cc. But I found the pressure washer. It's got a bad pump. It's local. It's 40 bucks. So, I mean, hard to beat it. Just for me to order the parts for this carb would be probably about 20. I'm still going to keep this motor and carb, but use it for a different project. All right, well, that's the update for now. Thanks, and I'll keep going. Well, good and bad news. I finished the go-kart, but I didn't really record what I was doing. I've been recovering from COVID and just wasn't feeling that great. But this one was pretty simple. So actually, steering's all set now. On-off switch, I cleaned all the rust off. New seat. So I got this from Go Power Sports. Only issue was I had to re-drill all the holes, and then I bought wood inserts because none of it lined up. I've got a couple extra torque converter belts. The motor, I was gonna exchange it with a 210cc that I bought on a pressure washer, but with the torque converter, this thing goes pretty good. I really can't complain. New belt on the torque converter, the old belt. I don't know if it was dry or worn, but it would slip. And then I adjusted the brakes. So that caliper is the brake, and right there is the adjustment. You loosen the lock nut and then you move it right that one, and then you move it in so it changes that arm, which is right there, until it feels good. But overall, not too bad. I paid $450 for the go-kart, $130 for the seat, $20 for the belts, air filter, on-off switch for the motor, and oil, you know, let's say another $15, $20. I didn't put a spark plug in because I just clean them because they're never worn, and it's like, why bother? So let me start it up and show you. So you gotta remember on these, there's two on-off switches, one on the steering wheel and one here. So that's on, fuel's flowing, and then, you know, this is go-kart, so it's spring-loaded. And the run's great, no complaints. You know, with the torque converter, it runs fantastic. I was all set to like put that bigger motor in because this is a 126cc. I doubt it's 5 horsepower. That's what these say. They all do that. I don't believe it because of that. I mean, 126cc, come on, that's pretty tiny. But anyways, it runs great. I mean, I'm an adult and I had zero hesitation. It's not super quick, but it's also got large tires on it. If I was going to keep it for myself, yeah, I'd throw that bigger motor in. But this, I'm flipping, so I'm not going to switch the motor out. Well, anyways, that's this go-kart. It was pretty fun. Another project. I always like, you know, buying fun stuff. If you're going to buy one, buy it in good shape. It was filthy and just needed a lot of little stuff. I think what happens is people buy them, they don't know how to repair them, they break, and then they sit there. Or maybe they can't take them in for repair because you need a truck, or they don't want to pay, you know, pick up delivery fees. That's my guess. Most of the ones I've seen on Facebook are all broken. You know, this one runs perfect. Everything's adjusted. You know, it's literally get it and go. And then my last go-kart actually I bought, come to think of it, it had a bad clutch. And when I sold it, I delivered it. So I charged them, but I did deliver it because they didn't have a way to get it back to them. Anyways, pretty cool. You know, if I have trouble selling it, I'd love to give it to my nephews, I think, but they might be a little too young for this. Anyways, hope that helps somebody. Sorry I didn't record that much, but now I'm feeling a little better. Hopefully I'll get some more projects.